China is responsible for a mind-blowing disaster, and somehow the cover-up is even worse. Welcome to China Uncensored. I'm Chris Chappell. Be sure to leave a honeypot emoji in the comments below for the algorithm. China's Communist Party would have the world believe that it's committed to saving the planet, just like Lex Luthor. They're not evil, they're just trying to protect us, whether we like it or not. And it's got plenty of voices sounding the trumpets. After all, according to Western media headlines, China's leading the world in green energy. Lex Luthor also uses green energy, by the way. Perfect analogy. See, this is the kind of stuff that keeps people coming back. One Australian professor says China is the birthplace of the global green industrial revolution. This is the birthplace of the Green Revolution, then it looks like it was a stillbirth. The World Economic Forum says, from Sichuan province to Zimbabwe, China is creating a roadmap for sustainable development on a global scale, which doesn't ring alarm bells for anyone. There's just one problem. China's commitment to green energy is an environmental disaster. In order to get green tech, you need to mine and refine raw materials. That responsibility has largely been relegated to Chinese companies, and this is the result.
Massive illegal mining operations that lasted for mere months left scars deeper than his brief operations in Surigao City, leaving residents and farmers in the dust, or in their case, silt and mud. Illegal operations allegedly by Chinese nationals continue to wreak havoc on the city's environment, with the damage uncertain if still repairable.
The water around his village is now harming marine life. And here's what's driving the pollution: open-pit nickel mines. Local says when it rains, sediment is washed into the sea, burying coral reefs that sustain fish and other marine life.
One country in particular has been especially hit hard by horrendous Chinese mining practices: Zambia. You see, Zambia is Africa's second largest copper producer, and China wants a huge slice of it. In 2023, Chinese state-run company, China Non-Ferrous Metals Industry Group, announced a $1.3 billion investment in Zambia across diverse sectors, including Zambia's copper sector. Its subsidiary, Sino Metals Leach Zambia, mines there. But in February of last year, a dam holding toxic waste from its copper mine collapsed. And the results are truly awful.
It's February the 18th. An environmental disaster on an historic scale has begun. At a copper mine in Zambia, owned by the Chinese company Sino Metals, a dam holding back a reservoir of toxic waste has collapsed. What some experts claim is one of the worst and least reported mining accidents ever has been unleashed. Matched, they say, by one of the worst government and industry cover-ups. It is spewing lethal chemical poison: arsenic, cyanide, uranium, lead, mercury and more. Soon, slicks of dead fish line the river shore.
Crumbling infrastructure in China, a combo more iconic than peanut butter and jelly, or human suffering in China. This is bad.
It is an environmental disaster, really of catastrophic consequence.
And he's not kidding. The river's waters became acidic enough to dissolve flesh. And locals have reported illnesses of various kinds, including rashes, blood in urine, chest tightness, nosebleeds, and blurred eyesight after exposure to the waste. Yep, nothing says green industrial revolution like turning a river into a Mortal Kombat stage fatality. Keep in mind that around 60% of Zambia's 20 million people live in and depend on this river basin. 5 million people need it for drinking, and it's poisoned. Even 6 months after the toxic mine spill, the U.S. Embassy of Zambia ordered all U.S. government personnel out of the area due to health risks. It also called the spill the 6th worst mine-tailing dam accident ever by volume. Which doesn't sound so bad until you remember that we're talking about ranking 6th in the world in a category that only contains devastating toxic spills. Sino Metals apologized and hired the independent South African-based environmental company Drizzt to investigate the accident. And guess what? After 2 months, Drizzt found that the toxic spill was 30 times worse than initially estimated, which moves it up from the 6th worst mine tailings dam accident ever to, I don't know, no one ever revisited that statement. The Zambian government and Sinometals initially said 50,000 tons of toxic sludge was spilled onto the Kafue River. But according to Drizzt, it could actually be over 1.5 million tons, with approximately 900,000 cubic meters of toxic tailings still present in the environment as of August 2025. Which, if you're not familiar with how these things work, is a metric ton. Just some cyanide and arsenic, posing significant long-term health risks, including organ damage, birth defects, and cancer. It's basically every ingredient in a multivitamin if your health goals are not living to see the release of GTA 6. After hearing these findings, Sinometals realized the errors of its ways, upped its support for the locals, and I'm just kidding. It terminated its contract with Drizzt the day before its final report was due, citing contractual breaches. And the Zambian government backed them, probably because this is just as much of a PR disaster for them as it is for Sinometals. Now, to be fair, Zambian officials were infuriated with what happened. They asked, if they had well-qualified engineers, how did they let this happen? Why did they not see the dam would fail? Well, it's simple, really. It was made by China. Have they not seen Chinese tofu construction, both inside China and abroad? I've seen Jenga towers last longer than Chinese ones. But since Zambia has tons of Chinese economic interests and debt, the Zambian government has worked with Sinometals to silence victims. One of the ways they've been doing that is by getting people to sign non-disclosure agreements that ban talking about the spill, taking legal action against Sinometals, and even sharing what was in the NDAs. The ones that are still alive after drinking that water, that is. The Zambian government incentivizes people to sign NDAs by offering money. But guess what? According to Human Rights Watch, some people didn't receive the promised compensation. I know, I can't believe people trying to bury untold human suffering wouldn't be the most upstanding chaps. And those who did get paid were ripped off. Some were offered as little as $100. Inside Climate News says people were given even less, as low as $17. Even in Zambia, that's not nearly enough to replace land that the Zambian government says is too toxic to sustain crops for at least 3 years. Hey, sorry about that whole making your land useless thing. To show you how sorry we are, here's enough cash to get lunch at Chipotle. Why would they accept such little cash? Well, they weren't even given the chance to negotiate or even see how much they'd get until after they signed the NDAs. And Sinometals resorted to all kinds of tricks to get people to sign. For instance, one man seeking a cash settlement with Sinometals went to consult his lawyer before signing a contract. But the Chinese, together with the police, went behind his back by talking to his 80-year-old mother. They got her to sign it without her even realizing what she was agreeing to. Which is impressive that they found a way to somehow be even more toxic than the waste spilled in the river. As critics noted, they're deceiving people into signing documents they can't comprehend. They don't care about the plight of the victims. Chinese companies not caring about victims? I'm shocked, I tell you, shocked. This is my shocked face. I hope it doesn't give me wrinkles. NDAs aren't the only way Sinometals and Zambian officials are silencing people. Locals say Sinometals is using security to keep people from talking to the news or environmental activists. There are also reports that the police are arresting activists and reporters near Sinometals' mine and telling residents not to speak to journalists or share pictures of the damage. Because sure, you've been poisoned, but the real crime would be if the authorities were to be embarrassed. Despite all this, many Zambians have filed lawsuits against Sinometals. To which China Non-Ferrous Mining responded by saying Sinometals has fully fulfilled its obligations in accordance with government directives and has completed compensation, as per the damage compensation report issued by the Zambian government. Do I smell a possible conspiracy? Now, to be complete, some of the victims of the spill were offered monthly cornmeal rations in addition to cash. But it's not just about the crops. Many of these people have claimed that they have no choice but to drink water from the river, even if it's cancerous. Of course, some of the victims were also offered free drinking water for 3 months, which, yeah, that's just insulting. But hey, I'm sure it'll all work out. After all, I trust Chinese companies to do what's right, as much as I trust Lex Luthor. And remember, you could just join my website, ChinaUncensored.tv, and become a member of the 50 Cent Army. When you subscribe, you'll get access to a special chat community, exclusive live streams, and deep dive episodes made just for my 50 Cent Army. Just click this button here or the link below. Once again, I'm Chris Chappell. Thanks for watching.